What's up, everyone? This is Nox, and this is the day 1 and 2 update for the Stormweaver Leaguestarter for patch 0.30. It was rough going at first. Actually, I should say Stormweaver initially, Sork initially seems very, very strong in Act 1 and in Act 2. Spark is okay in the very beginning, but once you get Fireball and Living Bomb, you kind of just like destroy the game for 2 acts. So acts 1 and 2 pretty comfy cozy, and then beyond that it sort of kind of hits a wall, and then you sort of need to keep figuring it out, figure out a new combo, figure out something else to do. I played around with a bunch of different stuff, eventually settled on Arc and Orb of Storms, which turned out pretty well. And then I threw in some Living Bombs for the extra fire infusions and just for some extra damage. Eventually you do get Firestorm, and that's very nice if you can get all 3 infusions. If you're not a Stormweaver and you're playing like maybe Chronomancer or something, or maybe you don't have the Ascendancy yet, Firestorm isn't really worth using. It kind of like tickles by itself. But when it has all 3 infusions, as you can see in some of the clips behind me, the single target damage is pretty decent, so it's not too bad. Stormweaver is not super smooth leveling. There's a lot of position, like, you know, there's a lot of situations where, you know, you kind of feel like you don't have any damage, and you kind of feel like you're hitting a wall and it's a bit of a slog. I'm not sure if it's, you know, the campaign, or if it's, you know, Stormweaver or Sork itself. The elemental infusion mechanic is pretty cool, but you know, it's power charges with extra steps. These are, you know, you're doing something to get a charge, to then you have to go pick it up off the ground, then one-time use. So it is sort of power frenzy and endurance charges with extra steps, which is unfortunate. But overall, I'm having a good time. And finally, we've made it to maps, and what you're seeing is kind of our first tier 2 map, and I ran into an Abyssal Depths here. And I have switched to my original plan, which is Cold Infused Spark. We are combining it with Archmage, and we are using, you know, Orb of Storms. So pretty comfortable playstyle here. It feels very similar to the Spark playstyle in 0.10, and it's blasting now. I don't have very much mana, obviously. I just hit level 70. I only have 1200 mana, and we are cooking. We're cruising through the content very comfortably. Finally, when I first hit maps, this was a bit of a slog. I was still using the Arc setup. Switching to Cold Infused Spark was a big deal. So yeah, if you guys are, you know, maybe in end of the acts for interludes or Act 4, and you want to switch to something like this for a little bit smoother of a time, here is how I've put together the character so far. So here we are in game, and this is pretty much our basic setup. We have Spark linked to Control Destruction, Prolonged Duration, Projectile Acceleration, and Zenith. Now, this is not up all the time, but when you're mapping, it's super nice because we have some mana on kill on the tree. Orb of Storms linked to Rapid Casting and Control Destruction, and Frostbomb linked to Spell Echo, Harmonic Remnants, and Short Fuse. So this is Short Fuse 1. You can link it to Short Fuse 2, and I will kind of show you guys how that looks. So this is Short Fuse 1. Takes a little bit to blow up, but you have it pretty quickly, and it gives you 2 cold infusions plus the extra generation from Stormweaver. If you instead socket in Short Fuse 2, you pretty much have on-demand cold infusions almost instantly. So remember how slow that was? You press it here, they're already out. So Short Fuse 2 is really nice if you're focused on getting the cold infusions. However, because the duration is so short, it does not apply the full exposure in one cast of Frostbomb. So you'll need to cast it twice to get the exposure fully up. I found Short Fuse 1 was a good middle ground between them. Just something to note. We do a Flame Wall linked to Fortress. This is just for the extra flat damage, which again, the damage is extra from Archmage, scales off of this as well. It's not a ton of damage. It's just something to spend our lightning infusions on, which keeps up some of our buffs on the tree. Here's my old Firestorm setup. It's not on my board anymore. I don't really use it, but I had Firestorm, Considered Casting, Deliberation, Concentrated Effect, and then I had Controlled Destruction in this slot here. Archmage with Lightning Mastery as usual. This is a previous Arc setup. That doesn't matter too much, but you just, you know, Control Destruction, Rapid Casting, and Wild Shards is what I was using. LA Weakness I pretty much never cast, but it's here, and then lightning warp to Cull. I could get some supports for this, but I haven't decided yet. Going over our passive tree really quick. I haven't really respec'd anything except for this point here to finish out my efficient casting wheel. So this will eventually go away, but I'm running a little bit low on gold for respecs. When I first started, I kind of followed the tree that I linked in the previous video, where I come straight up here. We grab this elemental damage, and then we come up to potent incantations. I then went and grabbed the exposure effect, and then I grabbed the infusion stuff here. And then finally we path kind of all the way up to these infusion stuff here. This will eventually be gone, and I will probably repath here so we can get access to Archon. This will be a nice damage buff for us. But again, I'm low on gold. So this is kind of the rough layout of the tree right now. I will post a path of building in the description below to what my tree is going to look like if you would rather follow that instead, so you don't have to respec. This orb node is pretty important. It's just so we can have two on Orb of Storms, and we also have 2 on Frostbomb, which is an orb, which allows us to use it with Spell Echo without any additional supports or anything like that. So that is the day 1 and 2 update. I'm actually having fun now. It was a bit of a slog in the some sections of the campaign, mostly Act 3. A little bit of Act 4, and then some of the interludes, and then right when I first hit maps, like T1 maps for some reason, like especially the Abyss stuff, which still feels overtuned, but that's typical with GGG, is having the League mechanic a bit overtuned. The Abyss stuff seemed really tanky. It felt like I wasn't doing damage at all, but overall it was a pretty great experience. I really loved Act 4. I really liked the interludes. It was a nice way for them to sort of like get rid of Cruel, but we still have something to do. I'd be happy to go through the campaign again now on a different character, but we're going to get this up into the 80s and 90s. I'll have an update video for you guys tomorrow after I refine some stuff, and hopefully we're in some T15 maps cruising right along. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below, or you can come by my stream at twitch.tv/noxblast. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys. Oh, don't forget to like and sub, and I will see you guys next time.